I'm learning how to sail by taking the American Sailing Association Sailing 101, ASA 103, and ASA 104 courses. This is the third day waking up on the boat in a week-long sailing program I'm doing in La Paz, Mexico with GoBaja Sailing. Today's story begins here at the anchorage on Isla Espiritu Santo, north of La Paz. And like the previous days, the day started with sunrise and waking up on our boat, a Dufour 455 named Imagine, a beautiful morning. I was new to sailing and had been learning a lot the last couple days. At times, it was almost difficult, not because the content of the course was difficult to learn, but because it was easy to be distracted by the incredible beauty of the landscape that was surrounding me. Of course, there was still a lot to learn, and I knew that I was lucky to be learning how to sail in such a beautiful location and on such a great boat. Yesterday, we finished off the lessons and completed the test for the American Sailing Association 101. Sailing Made Easy course. I made a quick journal of what I thought about the test, and this is some of what I had to say. ASA 101 exam. It was 100 questions, multiple choice, where you had 6 choices per question. The test was relatively easy, everybody was prepared, so everybody passed. I imagine if you didn't prepare for coming, then maybe you wouldn't pass. It's a 80% grade that you need to reach, but it's just, I don't want to tell anybody it's easy, you'll pass in this record of my experience, but yeah, if you do your work and study and everything, then yeah, it's relatively easy, so just do the work. Now with the ASA 101 finished, we could move on to the ASA 103 Coastal Cruising Made Easy material, while continuing to practice everything from the 3 courses. After a quick swim to get freshened up, we got started with our day the same as we would every day, by checking our charts for a float plan, inspecting the engine, and checking the weather. The weather for today looked like a good day to go sailing, with winds sitting around 10 to 12 knots. As we headed out of the anchorage, Linda raised the anchor, and we were on our way, with George at the helm, and our instructor Doug keeping an eye on our progress. We headed out of the anchorage on engine. Doug gave us instructions to remind us how we'd work together, our roles as a crew, and then soon we turned head to wind and raised the mainsail. The wind was already blowing half decent as we turned to a close reach point of sail and then unfurled the headsail, and Doug took a moment to review how to coil the working lines when they weren't in use. It was a great day for sailing, with the wind providing enough power to practice sailing in some of the different points of sail, from a close haul to a broad reach. If you're unfamiliar, there are 5 main points of sail, which begin with being close hauled. Close hauled is simply as close to the wind as you can sail. It's when the boat is angled approximately 22 degrees from being directly into the wind. If you look up at the wind indicator, the arrow will be pointing along one of the arms. Sailing close hauled is right on the edge of the no sail zone, and is also the angle for when you plan to heave to, which is a process of backwinding the headsail, turning the wheel to windward, and pushing the rudder to leeward to basically depower the boat. The next point of sail is the close reach. It's a little bit further out than being close hauled. The boat is angled between 22 and 90 degrees, or we could call it approximately 55 degrees from being head to wind. Now, the arrow of the wind indicator is resting away from its arms, and it's in the close reach that the sail is unfurled most often. Unlike the mainsail, which is raised head to wind, it's much better and safer to unfurl the headsail with the wind on one side to prevent it from flapping around excessively, which could damage the sail. The beam reach is the point of sail with the wind at give or take a 90-degree angle to the boat and blowing across your beam. This time, the arrow of the wind indicator is also at around 90 degrees. The next point of sail is the broad reach, which we would practice a lot of today, and is when you begin to run with the wind behind the boat. It's the largest point of sail with an angle of between 90 and 180 degrees, but the average angle is around 135 degrees away from the wind. In a broad reach point of sail, the arrow of the wind indicator is resting away from the arms and pointing aft. Physically, the wind is no longer blowing in your face, and instead you can feel it blowing behind one ear. Sailing becomes more quiet, and I found the speed we were traveling at to be a bit deceiving, as we were now traveling with the wind and waves instead of against them. The last point of sail is the run. Being on a run means that the boat is angled approximately 180 degrees away from the wind, and now the arrow of the wind indicator is pointing to stern, but more about sailing on a run in one of the next videos. The purpose right now of explaining the points of sail is that on this day, we were practicing several different points of sail and how to ease out or trim the sail for each. Practicing sailing through the different points of sail was also great because it enabled us to rotate through the different crew positions, working the helm, jib sheets, or adjusting the traveler. We learned that when jibing, that is, when changing tack so the boat's stern passes through the wind from a broad reach to a broad reach, we would adjust the mainsail first, then the head sail, and then adjust the mainsail traveler. We weren't a perfect crew. No, we were probably far from that, but we were working together as a team to get the boat to do what we wanted her to do, and we were doing it safely. No one overboard, and no collisions. Not yet, anyway. I can talk you through the experience, but maybe it's better if I show you. This is what it looked like. After a great day of learning how to sail and a lot of practice, we headed into our anchorage a little further north on Isla Espiritu Santo. So far, every day learning how to sail has been a fantastic experience. Although I'm new to sailing, I've had my fair share of travel and outdoor adventures. The experience I was having, learning how to sail, was definitely a high point. As I've mentioned in a previous video, there are places and moments in life when you can hardly believe they're real. I was learning a lot about sailing, and I was very thankful for having a great teacher and a cool crew to share the experience with. I couldn't wait to continue learning, and tomorrow would be another incredible day.